welcome to TRB Conversations at CES, powered by XCO. Joined by Geoff Schiller, the Chief Revenue Officer at Vox Media. Macro trend of the year. I think this is an easy one. It's going to be around talent. I think you guys have done, I'm going to say actually, you guys have done a really good job, and I think it's been kind of underrated with how much Vox's business has changed, and has particularly changed around embracing talent. I think this is something that every institutional media brand is trying to figure out, because look, the energy, I feel like, in the media space is more towards individual talent, whether that's on Substack, Beehive, whether that's on YouTube.
Do you want to do a shameless plug for your Substack?
No, because I'm on Beehive.
Okay.
So tell me about like how Vox is changing around talent.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think over the last, few years, 5-6 years, we've invested to the point where now we're the largest independent podcast network. And our expression of talent is through the pod. And the pod has gone from being an audio only medium to now audio, video, IRL, and it's sort of really leaned in and encroached upon like true kind of creator based businesses, because our talent, they're creators and they're just platformed, and we're giving them that platform, whether it's obviously like our sales and marketing capabilities, our production capabilities, studios, whatever it is. But that evolution from pod to creator has really given us a sort of competitively advantageous position in the marketplace to now say, not only are we number one in terms of reach and scale, but we have this talent that's unique to us, and we can express their sort of point of view in different ways.
Right. And you're striking different kinds of deals now. I mean, you're probably dealing with agents and whatnot, because I mean, what I think is interesting, it's like some are like owned and operated, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you have different types of relationships. I mean, I think probably the most prominent one would be with Swisher and Scott Galloway around the Pivot and the other podcasts. I mean, those have different economics too, right?
Yeah, I think those have been well covered, in terms of deal structures and incentives and all of those things. But
well, I mean, Scott loves to open the trench coat, so that's like
exactly. But I think to your point, there's like definitely a wide array of deals, and I think for the most part, outside of our quote unquote O&Os, we're dealing with talent and their production companies and their agents, and I think because we become such a flywheel, there's a trust factor that we're big, but we're not massive. We care about talent first and foremost, like we, not to sort of be derivative, but to be derivative, we like to sort of say that Vox Media Podcast Network is like the HBO of podcasting, where we're a home for talent, to nurture them, to build trust. And it's not just like this massive scale play. And so that gives us the ability to create partnerships, business partnerships,
right?
Versus just more.
But that's totally different. The pillow fell down.
Yeah.
That's completely different than a employer. They're slick. An employer-employee relationship. Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew this is the way this is always going to end, Geoff.
Chief Revenue Officer.
Yeah. I respect that. So those are different types of relationships that you end up having. I saw like Seth Matlin, like from Forbes, is and that was like, that surprised me, because I mean, he was always running the CMO. What was it, the CMO Club? What is
the CMO Network?
The CMO Network at Forbes. Now he's going over to Vox, but as part of his own company, he struck a partnership.
Absolutely. So he will have his own podcast that he'll have the CMOs that attend his CMO summit on as guests and talk about a variety of issues. So it's really building him out, outside of where he was at Forbes into his own entity in partnership with us. And that gives us, the unique ability when you look at our channel verticals to say, okay, from like a thought leadership perspective, you have Scott and Kara, which are like tech, politics, whatever. You have Seth now, which is more B2B. So you have optionality. And again, we want to build these channels out in a way that's diversified, so we're not just leaning on one sector. I know that you talked earlier about the the pickleball bubble. But the bubble of anything AI, like we don't want to be over leveraged in one specific space. So like these deals are partnerships that obviously are grounded in trust and collaboration, but they're also, from our lens, a strategic investment in different areas. So we're not like tripling down in having Scott and Karen like 4 or 5 different pods that are very, very similar.
And monetization is beyond advertising for like, because I mean, you want to build franchises, right? And you guys have never really been, I feel like you guys have never been completely, I don't know, maybe you're doing more like with events. I mean, there was like a pivot event for a little while, or maybe it was just a year in Miami.
Well, we just did the Pivot Tour. It was a 5-city tour.
Right, but that's like more of a
Yeah.
podcast tour model,
Totally.
which is different than like.
No, I remember it was at, I think,
Fiona,
yeah, back in the day. But look, the live pod thing is great from a client perspective. If you're a partner of ours, it's a great expression because it's all hardworking media. I know when we've talked in the past, or just like industry sort of questions around the ROI of events, a live pod gives you the ability to distribute it because it's recorded, both audio, video, and then you also get the IRL, whether it's sampling or participation. So we've done, a massive amount of live pods across the landscape: NWSL finals, WNBA All-Star, South by Southwest. Well, we're going to be the official podcast stage again this year. So that aside, as it relates to talent, our publishing assets also have that same ability. So Eater is a community. We just did Eater Under Wraps in Soho and down in Lower Manhattan, and the community came out at scale to interact with the brand during the holidays, taste things, buy things. So it's not unique to the talent quotient, is not unique to the pod. It's just best expressed and most sort of succinctly expressed by one individual. But our brands are creating franchises that are nurturing that same level of talent, whether it's like our Let's Do Lunch franchise, where you have celebrities at their favorite restaurant. We just had a viral episode with William H. Macy, or PS Fit, which is the #1 fitness franchise on YouTube. So talent writ large for us is a priority because differentiation is a priority. We think with AI slop, at sort of peak, that it's really important that we're built for this sort of new era of discovery, which is grounded in we're curating and we're helping people discover things that they didn't know that they needed. It's kind of like that old Jobsian thing. It's like no one knew that they needed a smartphone until I created it. And so our goal is, whether it's on the pod side through what Scott and Kara or Megan and Sue were talking about, or with the brands, to be able to say, here are things you should taste, touch, experience, whatever. And that Vox Media being built for that new era of discovery is part of the plan.
Yeah. So will your strength in podcasting then make that the center of your sort of YouTube/video strategy?
It's the most cost effective. Absolutely. Yeah. So short answer is yes. And we're excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, how do you like, which of the podcasts have translated the best to video?
Both On with Kara Swisher, Prof G, The Pivot, the whole universe. It's really, really strong. Our pods are all sort of consumed in different places. If you ask one person, they might tell you that all they do is watch Megan and Sue on social versus, Vivian 2 on TikTok, versus, Scott and Kara on YouTube. So it's kind of runs the gamut, but I would say all of them pretty much are seeing tremendous growth on the YouTube side of the fence.
Okay.
Just because it's like ambient sort of passive listening.
I'm not like totally sold on the video podcast boom. I mean, we'll see about if the Netflix bet pays off. I think a lot of the YouTube numbers, I want to know how many of those are people actually watching the podcast on a television versus having it like in a tab. I mean, maybe this could be me personally. It's just like, it's not a behavior that I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think it depends on who's on the pod, what the format is. Like some pods more sort of organically lend themselves to video. You want to see the dynamic between, if it's a co-host, between the two. And that's why like a Megan and Sue or a Kara and Scott might play better versus if it's just one person and you're kind of like, okay, they're being videoed, great, but there's no interplay. And I think like, it's been successful in radio. You see like the sort of video streams of like whatever it might be, like WFAN, or like even before that, it's like the Howard Stern show being on video. So it's like there are use cases that are like 30 years old that are successful. So yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. And also with video, I mean, you get to hug the pillow. That's the important
I will.
thing.
Yeah. It's my.
You don't get that with audio.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Brian.